Welcome to WNL Sports Weekly. I'm Jeremy Franklin. This week we'll speak with riding coach Gordon Reistrup and men's cross-country runner MacKenzye Leroy, as well as Clemmons and Tricia Jessee from the women's soccer team. But first, a quick look back at the weekend in Washington and Lee athletics. Women's soccer won its first ODAC title since 2009, downing Virginia Wesleyan 2-1 in the conference final at Watt Field. Three other teams fell in ODAC title games. Men's soccer dropped a 2-1 heartbreaker at Lynchburg, field hockey lost 2-0 to Shenandoah, and volleyball was defeated in straight sets by Randolph-Macon. Elsewhere, football suffered a 30-20 defeat at Bridgewater, and wrestling opened the season with a 28-13 loss at Ferrum. Joining me now is riding coach Gordon Reistrup. Gordon, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So far this season, the Generals have competed at Randolph, Bridgewater, and Hollins. How pleased have you been with the team's performances early on in the year?
I think overall, I'm pleased with their performance, in particular at Hollins, where we had, again, quite a few top three finishes, keeping us within range of the lead. Unfortunately, a few unforced errors, I'll say, kept us about 6 points, or what would have been a top finish off of the lead. So we are going to go home and refocus this week again and see if we can't bring it back at Sweetbriar this week.
You've got a strong group of returning riders on the roster this year, helmed by a pair of all ODAC performers in Kaylee Wells and Jane Chiavelli. How can you build off of that experience?
Jane and Kaylee are both excellent riders, and they're great team leaders. When it is their day as competitors, they bring that as a motivating factor to their teammates. And if it isn't their day on the field, they don't let their own disappointment as riders affect their team spirit and their fellow teammates' attitudes. They lead the team with the utmost in sportsmanship, and I think that carries over and makes us a really close-knit group.
You mentioned Sweetbriar earlier. That'll be your final event until February. What are the Generals looking to accomplish this weekend?
At Sweetbriar, we have gone back since Bridgewater, as I mentioned before, and now with the assistance of our new assistant coach, Rose McMillan, we have doubled down and are working on honing our technique and regaining our focus and riding and competing with intent, so that we can have a good finish at Sweetbriar. Typically, we have been pretty strong there, so I think we should have a good day.
What are the team's goals for 2016-17?
So for this season, we already have one individual qualified for regionals. I'd like to get about 5 more qualified for regionals as individuals. And then I think a strong top 4 finish in the IHSA conference. We're not too far out of 4th right now, so I think that is within our grasp if we just take what we've been practicing and deliver it at the events. And then we have a very strong group again for ODACs, and I think we can definitely contend again this year and hopefully bring home our 3rd title.
Gordon, thanks for joining us. Best of luck throughout the season.
Great. Thank you for having me.
With me now is Tricia Jessee, senior soccer player from Roanoke. Tricia, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me.
WNL won the 4th ODAC tournament title in program history this past weekend. What does it mean to you and your classmates to cap off your careers with a conference title?
It's one of the best things to end a career with. We've worked so hard, the seniors, 4 years to get to this point and to win an ODAC championship. We've come really close in the past, been in 2 ODAC finals and have been unable to make it to the end, and so it's an amazing feeling being able to win, especially on our home field, which has never happened in our program before.
You scored the 42nd goal of your career during the conference championship. You now rank 4th on the school's all-time scoring list. What's enabled you to have that kind of success during your career?
It's definitely been my teammates. Coming in even as a freshman, I was pushed so hard from every single person on the team to be able to perform in games, and from them pushing me through practices and during games, being supportive, and especially coach being there every step of the way, giving me goals to reach every season. And then, of course, having amazing players on the field that are able to feed me perfect assists to make my job a lot easier to score.
WNL heads to Center College for the opening rounds of the NCAA tournament this weekend. What are the team's expectations for the playoffs?
I mean, our biggest hope is to come out of the weekend with 2 wins. It would be a really great thing to be able to qualify for the Sweet 16 and just one weekend. I think it's most important for us to enjoy the experience because none of us have been in the NCAA tournament before. And just remember, we're just playing a game and we can beat any team if we play our best. And so that's the most important thing for us right now.
Tricia, thanks for joining us. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you for having me.
I'm joined now by Katie Clemmons, senior soccer captain from Phoenix. Katie, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
WNL defeated Virginia Wesleyan 2-1 in the ODAC championship over the weekend, claiming the program's first conference title in 7 years. How has everything come together for the team this season?
Well, I think our biggest turning point in the season was the Shenandoah game. And after the Shenandoah game, we were 4-3, which was a little bit of a scary place for us. I thought we were a much better team than that. But the next week, we really came together as a team, had a lot of really good practices, and we've been undefeated since then. So we've become a team that's been really hard to beat, and we won an ODAC championship.
You won the ODAC regular season title as well, which enabled you to play at home in the ODAC tournament. How much did that home field advantage benefit the Generals?
The home field advantage was huge for us. The crowd was incredible on Saturday and especially on Sunday. It definitely makes a difference. It brings a lot of energy to the game. And then it was also really nice not to have to travel like long distances, or we were also just really used to playing on our grass field. So it was a huge deal for us to host.
You just played some great competition in the ODAC tournament. WNL also played a very competitive non-conference schedule that included a 2-1 loss, a very close game against the center team that is your host site for the NCAA tournament. How well prepared are the Generals for the postseason?
I think that our team is extremely well prepared for the NCAAs, especially this weekend. We're really used to used to playing back-to-back games, especially in the out-of-conference games at the beginning of the year. And they were obviously very tough games. We had a really tough schedule at the beginning of the year. In the ODAC conference was a really competitive conference this year. 3 teams got a bid to the NCAA tournament, and it was a really close. There were a lot of really close games this year for the #1 seed. So I think that we're very prepared for this weekend.
Katie, thanks for joining us. Best of luck at center.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Here with me now is MacKenzye Leroy, junior cross-country runner from Port Jervis, New York. MacKenzye, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
WNL ran away with the ODAC title on the last weekend of October. You had 4 runners placed in the top 8. You finished 31 points ahead of second place Lynchburg. What led to such a great performance from the Generals at the conference meet?
Yeah, that meet was a culmination of a lot of different things happening this season. It started with a shift in training programs. In years past, we've been peaking mid-October, late October, not really having good postseason runs. So Coach Spalding changed the program, looked for maybe a 2-week delay, and that really came together. And home field advantage was nice. It was great to see a lot of our friends and family out there, and everyone showed up that day and ran well, so it was a great time.
You placed second overall at the meet, finishing just behind one of your teammates, Max Strahler. How pleased were you with your personal performance at the ODAC championship?
I was very pleased. My freshman year, I didn't finish the ODAC race. Last year I was 18th, and this year I've had a really good training block going back to May 1st, and I felt good. We were shooting for a top 5 finish, but in the last 2K, some things worked in my favor. I made a move about a mile left and was able to hold it all the way to the line, so I was very pleased with that.
WNL cracked the National Division III Coaches Poll this season for the first time in program history. What does it mean to you and your teammates to be a part of that milestone?
Yeah, it's a great milestone, and it shows how far we've come in 4 years. It really means a lot to us to get some recognition on a national and regional level. But at the end of the day, the rankings don't go into at-large bids or really mean anything on paper. So we're looking ahead to regionals to really prove ourselves there.
The regional meet is coming up this weekend in Georgia. What are the team's expectations for that meet?
So we really want to make nationals. So the top 2 teams get an automatic bid. That'd be ideal scenario. But we've been working hard at building a resume for a possible at-large bid. And we think if everyone runs the way they can, we could have a good day. We have 4 guys on the team who have already run this course, 4 guys in our top 5 who ran it 2 years ago. We know the course. We're running well right now, so we're looking for a spot to nationals.
MacKenzye, thanks for being here. Good luck at the regional meet this weekend.
Thanks again.
It's time now for a look at the upcoming weekend. Men's soccer received an at-large bid to the NCAA tournament and will travel to Franklin and Marshall, where the Generals take on St. Lawrence in the first round on Friday. Women's soccer heads to Center for the opening weekend of the D3 playoffs as WDL matches up against Hardin-Simmons on Saturday. Meanwhile, the ODAC champion cross-country teams head to Rome, Georgia for the NCAA South-Southeast Regional. Wrestling will compete at the Washington and Jefferson Invitational. Men's and women's swimming also travel to Pennsylvania for a meet against Grove City and host Carnegie Mellon. And football will wrap up the season at home against Shenandoah. For WDL Sports Weekly, I'm Jeremy Franklin. Thanks for watching.